Hello children, let's come back to our maths class. Today we are just going to have a small recap of lesson 1. We have completed our lesson 1, yes children? So we are just going to see whatever concepts or whatever topics we have seen in our lesson 1. Let us have a small revision of our lesson 1. I would like you to take your maths textbook. Take down your maths textbook children. I hope you people are ready with your textbook. Take your maths textbook. Come to page number 5. Come to page number 5. Are you ready with your maths textbook children? Okay. So what are the topics that we dealt for exercise 1.1? First of all, we studied what is the definition for set. We found how to check whether the given statement is a set or not a set. If a particular statement is well defined, you have to say the statement is set. If it is not well defined, you say that it is not a set. Okay. And then also we have seen the different forms of representation of a set. That is, we have seen 3 different forms. What are the 3 different forms, children? The first one was descriptive form. What is the meaning of descriptive form? The set is described in words, like the set of all players in a cricket, the set of all months in a year, and so on. Okay. Then we had set builder or rule form. Set builder or rule form. This was the second form of representing a set. Set builder means here we use a rule like such that, x such that. Do you remember this thing? X such that, x belonging to n, and so on. So here a rule is mentioned. We call this as set builder or rule form. So we use such that. When you get a such that notation, you can say, okay, this is a set builder form. And then we saw about the roster form. Roster form is the form where you list out all the elements. You have all the members. Okay, so this type of representation is called a roster form. So we have seen 3 different ways of representation of a set. Okay, and this was in our exercise 1.1, and also we studied the symbol belonging to. I hope you people remember symbol belong to, does not belong to. This is belongs to, and this is does not belongs to. So we have seen in detail about belong to and does not belongs to, and we have also done some problems based on this. Yes children? Okay. Now let's come to exercise 1.2. That is, for exercise 1.2, we dealt with the different types of sets. Yes, what were the different types of sets? Empty set, second one singleton set, infinite set, that is finite and infinite set, equivalent set, equal set, universal set. Yes children, we have listed all the different types of sets, and we have explained, and we have also taken some of the examples. Okay children, so this was in your exercise 1.2, and also we have seen what is that? Is we have checked the sets are null or singleton, sets are disjoint or overlapping. So we have seen the problems based on different types of sets also. Okay, and what we have seen some of the problems over here, which was based on power set and proper subset. Yes, I hope you people are with the page 11. You just refer page 11. We have so many topics over there. So we have discussed about cardinal number, the number of elements in a set. Then we checked what type of sets is the particular statement or particular set is. Then we studied how to write the power set, how to write the number of subset, how to write the number of proper subset, and so on. Yes children, let us have a check of the formula of subsets. What is the formula for number of subsets? What is the formula for number of subsets? How are you going to find this? The formula is 2 raised to m. What is the formula? 2 raised to m. This is the formula for number of subsets. This is the sums that we have already done in our classwork. This is just a small recap for you. We have to just see, we have to just recollect, or just we have to bring out whatever we have done in our previous classes for our lesson 1. Okay, so how to find out the number of subsets? The number of subset is equal to 2 raised to m. Okay, we have seen one more formula, that was number of proper subset. How to find out number of proper subset? It's very simple. You have to just write on this formula and minus 1. 2 raised to m minus 1. Okay, children? So this was for number of subsets, and here we deal, this is for exercise 1.2, okay? And for exercise 1.3, we studied the different set operations. I hope you people are clear with the set operations, yes? So many have submitted your homeworks and your answers were all correct. Some of the answers were correct, many of the answers were correct, and few have made mistakes. So just have a check of your answers, children. So under set operations, we have seen for union, then we have seen for complement, then we have seen for intersection, and then we have seen for set difference. So you people know how to apply all the operations and find the answer. Union means combining, intersection means taking the common element, complement means like we don't want that particular set, A dash, B dash, so I don't want A, I don't want B. So when you're talking about the complement, you have to get the answer from the universal set. Here we will be focusing on the universal set. Set difference, A minus B, B minus A, yes. So we have done many sums based on the set difference also. And you people are thorough. I hope you know how to go for the set difference and how to go for the union and how to go for the intersection and so on. Okay, children? Yes. So this was from our exercise 1.3, and also we have studied what? We have seen how to draw the Venn diagrams for a particular set, yes, how to draw A union B, how to draw A intersection B, and so on. So that was from exercise 1.3, and exercise 1.4 dealt with the different properties. Here we have solved the problems based on different properties like commutative property and associative property. So we studied the different properties and we applied the properties and we have solved our exercise 1.4. Yes, children? Yes. And in exercise 1.5, we have again seen some of the properties, like we are just again applying some of the properties which is being based on De Morgan's law for set difference, De Morgan's law for complementation, and also the distributive property. So we learned the property. That's why I say that you have to be thorough with the different properties, because sometimes instead of giving the property, they may just give the name of a property like De Morgan's. You have to verify De Morgan's law of complementation. So you people have to know the property first. If you know the property, you can write the property, and whatever is being needed there, you can prove it and get the answer. So this is very, very important to know all the properties. Okay, then exercise 1.6. Okay, we dealt with exercise 1.6, which dealt with the application on cardinality of sets. That is, we tried to solve some of the sums using Venn diagram. It's like application on cardinality, the number of elements in a particular set. So mostly, and exercise 1.7 dealt with the multiple choice questions, and I have told you to complete the multiple choice questions. Yes, children, I hope everything is done from our lesson 1. So today we are going to continue with a new topic, that is lesson number 2, real numbers. So what is a new topic today? We are going to start from a new topic, that is lesson number 2. Okay, children, get ready with your classwork. Write down today's date, today's day. Write down lesson number 2. Give the name of a lesson, real numbers. Come on, let's start with the work, children. Take down your classwork. Write down today's date, today's day. Write down lesson number 2, real numbers. Okay. Have you taken on the name of a lesson? Give the heading points to remember. Give the heading points to remember. Have you taken the heading children points to remember? Okay, now we are been dealing with numbers. Yes, we are been dealing with numbers from our lower studies, from our lower classes. Not only in our school, but we are using the numbers in our day-to-day life. Yes, wherever you just see, you're being bound or you're being bounded with the numbers. You're being attached to the numbers. You're being covered with the numbers. Wherever you go, we have to apply the numbers. Like whenever you just, let us just have a day beginning with the max. How you begin your day with the max? The time that you get up in the morning. Some people have a habit of setting an alarm clock. Yes, they set up the time in the alarm clock, and when the alarm clock rings, it just says, oh, it's 4 o'clock or it's 5 o'clock, get up. So you people get up by just looking at the numbers. Yes, children? Yes. So when you just go to bath, again there we have to use a particular volume of water. Again, when you just go for brushing your teeth, again we use a quantity of toothpaste in our toothbrush and we brush our teeth. Yes, children? So when you just go on wearing your dresses or when you just go on wearing your uniform, again there we deal with the numbers. Yes, how are you going to deal with the numbers over there? We just cannot wear the dresses of any particular measurement. Yes, children? We have to wear the dresses of our measurement, yes, which suits our size of the body. So we just cannot wear the dresses of our grandfather or we cannot wear the dresses of our grandmother. Yes, children? So we have to wear a dress which fits our body. So we have to wear a dress with a proper or appropriate measurements. There we deal with the numbers. Yes. Then when you just come for your breakfast, again we have a proper quantity of food where we deal with the numbers. And when your mother would have been cooking the breakfast, she would be having some quantity of spices where she used the measurements, where she used some of the numbers. She would be using a very little spices over there. She would be using some quantity of salt. She would be using some quantities of water over there. Yes, children? So when everything is being added in a proper quantity or a balanced quantity, you get a tasteful dish. Yes. Same way. So from the beginning, so from the morning of a day till the end of the day, we are being dealing with our numbers. That's we are being attached to the numbers. That means what you can say, that is we are just involving the numbers with us. Just we are just living with the numbers. Yes, children? We have to be thorough with the numbers. Like when you just go for a bank dealing or a bank transaction, again, there we use the numbers. Yes, we have, if you are going to just deal with the higher numbers, yes, there we have our max. When you go for bank, you have some interest calculations, which again is a max. When you go for a shop to buy anything, again there you use some measurements, which is again a max. So this max is like a life-related topic for us. It's a life-related situation, and max teaches us how to level up our life, how to brighten our life. We can be just very, what you can say, when you just compare to a person who has been not thorough with the max. Not thorough with the max, I'm not talking about the person who are not studied or not, they're not literate or illiterate. Here I'm just saying the person, if he uses the numbers very carefully, if he uses the number in a proper way, or if he uses the number in an appropriate way, he will be in a different, like he will be shining in a different manner. Okay, children? So let's, what is the thing I have to say over here is that numbers are the thing we are just hearing, we are seeing, we are sensing everywhere. So max plays a very, very important role in our life, and max teach us many things where we can tackle our problems and we can overcome the difficulties in our life. Yes, children? So we can just overcome, because we have so many things in our max. Children, just see, we have so many of the operations that we use in our max. Like we have add, we have subtract, we have division, we have multiplication, when we have to just go on working out. So if a problem is given to you, what you do? When a problem is given to you, you have to go on trying. When you just go on trying, what you get? At the last, we get a solution. So what is the thing? Whatever concept we study in maths, we have to just apply it in our practical life and we have to get a solution. If you have any worries, just think how to tackle your worries. What will be the solution for it? Not only in the mathematical way, you have to just think in a way how you can tackle your problem. So maths teaches you how to tackle your problems and how to overcome the problems and to get a solution out of it. Okay, children? So maths is a subject which will be very, very helpful in your life, and it is a life subject. It is a life subject which teaches you many things in our life. Okay, children? Now let's start with the points to remember. Here we are going to talk about some of the numbers, and I know that you people have studied about the natural numbers, whole numbers and integers in the previous classes. Once again, we are going to take down the points which will be useful for us to use in this lesson. Okay, children? So take down the points here. The first point, the set of all natural numbers is denoted by n. This is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. We know that the natural number is denoted by n. You just put a line over here and it starts from 1. The natural number starts from 1 and it goes to infinity. Go for the second point. The set of all whole numbers is denoted by W is equal to 0, 1, 2 and so on. That is from which number the whole number is going to be start. The set is going to start for a whole number. It starts from 0. So the smallest natural number is 1 and the smallest whole number is 0. Be careful, children. What is the smallest natural number? It's 1. And what is the smallest whole number? It's 0. And we just cannot talk about the biggest or the greatest number of natural number. It goes to the infinity. And again, when you talk about the greatest number of whole number, it goes to the infinity. Okay, let's take on the third point. The set of all integers is denoted by z is equal to, put a dot over here, the set of all integers is denoted by z is equal to dot 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 minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So you people have to remember the number line for the integers. Okay, children? Just remember the number line whenever you go for the integers. Integers means we have a 0 in the origin, then we have all the positive numbers this side and we have all the negative numbers this side. Okay, it goes on. So integers are the numbers, or integers include 0, it includes all the positive integers and also it includes all the negative value. Okay, children? So you have to take the number 0, then you have to take all the positive numbers and you have to take all the negative numbers. This is a set of integers, and integers is denoted by z. Put a z and you have to just draw one line over here, z. Okay, have you taken on the point, children? Just take on the point for integers. Fourth one. The rational number is expressed in the form of P upon Q, where Q is not equal to 0. Okay. So how is the rational number written as? Rational number is being expressed in the form of P upon Q. If you have a number in the form of a fraction, you call that number as rational numbers. And remember one thing, the denominator should not be equal to 0. We should not have the denominator to be 0. Okay. So the rational number is expressed in the form of P upon Q, where Q is not equal to 0. The rational number is denoted as, the rational number is denoted by, okay. We don't have any particular set over here because we have a lot of things over here, okay. So just you have to remember one condition for rational number, that it is expressed in the form P upon Q and Q is not equal to 0. That is the remainder. Not remainder, the denominator should not be equal to 0. That is, we have a numerator upon denominator. So denominator part should not be equal to 0 and it is denoted by Q. You have to write Q and you have to put here one line. This is a rational number. A rational number is denoted by Q. Have you taken on, children? Okay. Now here, these are the different numbers you people have to know about. We have some more numbers which will be dealing in the next class. Okay, children? Now you may have a confusion. The lesson name is real numbers and ma'am is not giving us anything about real numbers. Yes, children? You have that confusion. Yes. Now real numbers are denoted by the symbol R. Okay, children? This is R. R is the set of real numbers. Like X belonging to R, we may have, like we say X belonging to N, X belonging to Z, X belonging to W and so on. Yes, children? Yes, similarly, R represents real number. Now what do you mean by real number? Actually, you people will be learning more in detail about real number and complex numbers when you just go for your higher classes. Here, I just like you to give us few information about a small extra information over here which is not in your book. Okay, children? Now just see, children, all the numbers like natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, then rational numbers, then irrational numbers. Okay, I'll be giving you the definition for irrational numbers in the next class. Okay, or you just state on the definitions over here. A simple definition, write on. The numbers which are not rational, the numbers which are not rational are called irrational numbers. It is denoted by R minus Q. Okay. It's denoted by R minus Q. Just state on the definitions, children. So I have just given you a definition which is not there in your book. They have not given to you in your book directly. So this is very simple. You know about the natural number. It starts from 1. We know about the whole numbers which starts from 0. And we know about the integers which include 0 and which takes the positive value as well as the negative values. And what is the rational number? The rational numbers are the numbers which are expressed in the form P upon Q. A numerator upon a denominator. Only one condition to be followed. The denominator should not be equal to 0. We should never have 0 in the denominator. Okay. How is a rational number denoted as? A rational number is denoted by Q. Okay, children? And the last one, the numbers which are not rational are called irrational numbers. What is the definition for irrational numbers? The numbers which are not rational are called irrational numbers. Okay? And it is denoted by R minus Q. Now I told you that we denote real numbers as R. See here? So it's R minus Q. Okay. Now let's see what is a real number. Now real number is a combination of all the numbers. Under real numbers, you have two things. What are the two things you have? You have a rational number and an irrational number. Children, you can just come to page. Yeah, 55. 55. Come to page 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55 come to page 55. Have you taken page 55? Okay. I hope you are ready with the page 55. Yes, you can. Can you see a chart over there? Can you see a diagram over there? Yes. What is that given? Real number is being divided into two. What is that? Rational and irrational. Yes. So then we have many more things which will be dealt in the higher next classes, not in the higher classes, in the coming lessons, the coming classes. So just think of a real number. Real number is a combination, or real number consists of a rational number and a irrational number. That means in simple terms we can say under real numbers we have mostly all the numbers. Are you getting my point? Now just see, when I talk about 3, let us take an example of 3. Now just 3, we know that when I say the number 3, what will you say? That 3, shall I rub this part? First of all, you people have to be clear with the different numbers, okay? Then we'll go for the exercise. If I say a number 3 and I ask you, okay, tell me what type of number is this? So first of all, what you'll say? Okay, this is a natural number. Are you clear? Yeah, 3 belongs to n. That is 3 is a natural number. Agreed. Because 1, 2, 3. That is the natural number is going to start from 1. So 1, 2, 3 and so on. So we get 3 in the natural number. Okay. What about whole number? Yes. 3 is a whole number because the number starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So 3 is also a whole number. Okay. Next one. Is it an integer? Yes, it is an integer because this comes under the positive side. Yes, that is, I have told you, for an integer, you can write down the number 0, you can write down all the positive numbers and you can write down all the negative numbers. So 3 is also a integer. Just see, children, 3 belongs to n, 3 belongs to w, 3 belongs to z. It is a natural number, it is a whole number, it is a integer. Okay. Now let's check for the rational number. What is the rational number over here? Yes. Can we write 3 in the form of numerator and denominator? Yes. How many people say yes? Okay. How many people say no? Okay. So now who said yes? They are correct. How are we going to express 3 in the form of a fraction? 3 can be written as 3 upon 1. How are you going to write down 3? We are going to write down 3 as 3 upon 1. Yes. Now this is a rational number. Yes, children? See? So we can just try to write the natural number, or we can write the whole number, or we can write the integer in the form of rational number. Minus 3 is the same way. We can write minus 3 as minus 3 upon 1, which is again a rational number. So what you can say about a real number? Real numbers are a combination, or real number consists of rational numbers and irrational numbers. So you have to find out what is irrational number, and we have mostly used the irrational number in our problem in when we just solving the operations. Yes, children? Do you remember that I have told you that root 2 is a irrational number, root 3 is a irrational number, and so on, yes? So we'll be studying in detail about irrational numbers in the next exercises. So just think that rational number can include natural number, it can include whole number, it can include integers, but with some exemptions or some exclusions. What are the exclusions? One thing, the denominator part should not be 0. That is, we cannot take the number 0 in the denominator part. If you take the number 0 in the denominator part, that means that particular part is not a rational number. I hope you people are clear with this now. Okay, so what is a real number? Real number is a combination of rational and irrational numbers. And we can express the natural number in terms of rational. We can express whole number in terms of rational. But just have a exclusion over here, do not put 0, because 0 will not give you an answer. And again for z, we can write down the integer in terms of rational number, but one more exclusion over here, we cannot put 0. Okay, children? And irrational numbers, the numbers which are not rational are called irrational numbers. Okay, children? So, just have a small explanation over here. Write down point number 6. Consider 3. Here x, here 3 belongs to natural number, 3 belongs to whole number, 3 belongs to integer, and 3 belongs to rational number. That is, you write down 3 is equal to 3 upon 1 belongs to rational number. So you can just understand all the things. So this is a set of rational numbers, and the numbers which are not rational, we have to say it as irrational number, and the R is the symbol for real numbers. Okay, the real numbers. Just take a small example. Okay, children. And we have one more type of numbers. We have a complex number. Okay, we have real numbers and we have complex numbers. Two numbers are there. Okay, under real numbers you have all the numbers like natural, whole, integers, rational, irrational numbers all come under real numbers, and complex number is a totally new numbers which you will be learning in your class 12. Okay, children. So we have one more type of numbers. Okay, real and complex. Getting my point, children? So in this class you are just going to study in detail about the real numbers. You are just going to study the different numbers that we have already listed in our points to remember. Have you taken on this point, children? Okay. Now let's come to our exercise 2.1. Write down the first question. Write down exercise 2.1. Write down the first question. You have to draw the number line, children, and you have to write down the question. Which arrow best shows the position of 11 upon 3 on the number line? Which arrow best shows the position of 11 upon 3 on the number line? So you have to draw the arrow diagram. So you have to draw the number line and write down all the details they have given you. Just fill the numbers carefully. You have to use your scale, children. Just keep your scale and you can just go on plotting the numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes? You people know how to draw a number line. Yes? So draw a number line. Here you have negative numbers -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. You have your A. Where is A? It's between -3 and -4. So mention here this is A. Where you have B, it's 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here you have B. And here you have C. And here you have D. Just see the position carefully. C is little closer to 3 and 4 is little, and that is D is closer to 4. So C is closer to 3 and D is closer to 4. So draw the figure with a pencil and a scale. No hand drawn work, children. You have to use your scale and pencil to draw a figure. Now the questions. Have you drawn the figure, children? A number line, you have to show an arrow which is representing A. You have to show an arrow which represents B, C and D. Okay, so what's the question here? Which arrow best shows the position of 11 upon 3? So we have to show which is the best arrow showing the position of 11 upon 3. Okay, children. So let's see where is 11 upon 3 present. So before finding the answers, we have to find out we have to solve that answer and we have to get the decimal answer. That is, we are going to solve the fraction and we are going to get the answer in forms of decimal. Let's go for the work. So let's do here. I'm just going to do the division below the number line. So we have 11 divided by 3. 11 divided by 3. Come on, let's go for the division. Have you taken down? Shall we go for the division, children? 3 3s are 9, 0. When I put here 0, I have to introduce your decimal point. 3 6 are 18, 2 0. Again I get 3.66. It will go on. Again I'll get 18 and so on. So when I divide 11 by 3, I get 3.666 and so on, okay? So 11 divided by 3 gives you 3.66. So now write down the answers over here, children. Have you completed this? Write down the answer. 11 upon 3 is equal to 3.66. I'm just going to approximate as 3.7. 3.66 will be approximated as, actually, or you can just write down here 3.7, or if you have one more thing, I can put here 3.67. Okay, I'm just going to stop over here. 3.66 will be approximated as 3.7. Okay, because the number is bigger than 5. If you have a number bigger than 5 or a number 5, you have to just add plus 1 to the previous number. That is, you have to add 1 over here. That is 3.6 plus 1. That becomes 7. So 0.7, 3.7. So I have found the answer as 3.7. Okay, children. Now just tell me 3.7, where is this 3.7 going to be? Here there is no chance because this is a positive number. So this part is not possible. We cannot take this part. Okay. This is 3.7. That means it is assured, or we can say with guarantee, or we can say with full, what is that? With full knowledge that this 3.7 is going to lie between 3 and 4. It's not going to lie between 2 and 3, yes, children? 3.7. So it will be lying between 3 and 4. Okay. So it is going to be somewhere here. Now I have to choose the best arrow. Which is the best arrow here? Is it C or is it D? See here, the C is closest to 3, yes, children? It's somewhat closest to 3. Now here it's 3.7. So 3.7, see, mostly when you just go for the number above 3.5, like 3.5. If you go above 3.5, we are mostly close to the number 4. Okay, 3.5 means we are nearing the next number. Getting my point, children? And if you are less than 3.5, you are nearing the previous number. Getting my point? So here it's 3.7. So where are we nearing to? We are nearing to 4. So which is the arrow close to 4? Yes, D is the arrow which is close to the 4. So which is the correct arrow over here? The correct arrow is D. Write down the answer, children. Therefore, D arrow shows the best position of. Write down the final statement. Therefore, arrow D shows the best position of 11 upon 3 on the number line. Okay, done? So which is the best, which arrow shows the best, they are saying. So which is the best arrow? Because I can take D because it is close to the answer, 3.7. So 3.7 is arrow D. Write down the answer. Arrow D shows the best position of 11 upon 3 on the number line. Okay, children, now it's time for your homework. Let's state on some of the homework points over here. Your homework is to write down all the points. I have given you around 6 points. Okay, so no need to write down the 6th point. You have to write down the first 5 points. That is, you have to write down the natural number. You have to write down about whole number, integers, rational and irrational. Okay, so points to remember, 5 points, first 5 points. Okay, then from exercise 2.1, the second sum is your homework. Find any three rational numbers between minus 7 upon 11 and 2 upon 11. So that is your homework. Okay, children? So sum number 2 is your homework. Do not miss out this point. This is a very important thing you have to note. So points to remember, and exercise 2.1, the second question. Okay, children? Take on the third question. Take on the third question. Have you taken third question? Find any 5 rational numbers between 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 5. Read on the question. Find any 5 rational numbers. You are going to find out how many rational numbers? You are going to find 5 rational numbers between 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 5. So first part, 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 5. So this is a question. So we are going to find out 5 rational numbers. Okay, shall we start? So here we have 2 numbers given to us. Yes, children? So you are going to take this as A and you are going to take this as B. So write down, let A is equal to 1 upon 4, B is equal to 1 upon 5. Is the first step clear? We are just assuming the first value as A and the second value as B. That is 1 upon 4 is A and 1 upon 5 is B. Okay. Now we have to find out the rational number, and I have told you the symbol for rational number as Q. Yes, children? So here I am not going to use a symbol, I am just going to take a letter, small letters Q. I will write down here. Let Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5 be the 5 rational numbers. Let Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5 be the 5 rational numbers between 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 5. Between 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 5. Getting my point, children? So we have to find out 5 rational numbers. So I am just naming it as Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 and Q5. Okay. Shall we proceed with the answer, children? Okay, let's go for the step here. Let's see what to do over here. I am going to find out Q1 first. So Q1 is equal to half of A plus B. This is the formula. Remember the formula for Q1? Not for Q1, this is the formula for finding the rational numbers between 2 numbers. So I have just taken here Q1, okay. So Q1 is equal to half, 1 upon 2, A plus B. So let's solve this. So 1 upon 2, what is A, children? It's 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 5. I have just substituted the value, that's all. So Q1 is half of A plus B. So this is equal to 1 upon 2, 1 plus 4 plus 1 upon 5. I'll be just simplifying the bracket first. I have told you that we have to use the BODMAS rule. That means we have to solve the numbers which are in the bracket first. So this is equal to half of. I'll cross multiply, children. So 1 into 5, it's 5. 1 into 4, it's 4. So 5 plus 4 upon, you have to multiply the numbers, which is the denominator. So 5 into 4, 20. So what do you get? 5 into 1, 5. 4 into 1, 4 upon 20. So you get half, 9. 5 plus 4, 9 upon 20. So I get the answer as 9 upon 40. I'll write down here, therefore Q1 is equal to 9 upon 40. Write down the first answer. So we got the first answer, first rational number. What is the first rational number? 9 upon 40. Okay, children, now let's move in a similar way and we are going to find out the remaining answers. I hope you people are clear with the first step. How are you finding rational number? First one, the formula is half of a plus b. That is half of the numbers given. We know the values for a and b. So it's 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 5. So you have to solve the numbers which are inside the bracket. So 1 into 5, 5. 1 into 4, 4. So 5 plus 4 upon 20. You have to multiply these numbers. 5 into 4, 20. 5 plus 4. Be careful with the sign plus. And I know, I hope you people know how to solve for the integers. I have taught you, yes, if you have plus minus, what to do. If you have minus plus, what to do. Yes, children? So be careful. You have to use the integers also for some sums. So you have to be thorough with the concept of integers. Okay, let us go for Q2. Q2 will be, now very easy thing here. It's half of a plus Q1. Okay, and when you go for Q3, you should write half of a plus Q3, Q2. And for Q4, half of a plus Q3. For 5, half of a plus Q4. Okay, children, let's substitute the value. So this is equal to half of, what is a? A is 1 upon 4. What is Q1? Q1 is 9 upon 40. Here we can go for cross multiplication. Okay, that is also one of the method. Here just look at the numbers carefully, children, in the denominator. We have 4 and we have 40. Can we make the denominator same? Yes. How can we make? That is, if I multiply the first number by 10. And if you multiply a number to any part, suppose you are multiplying by 10 in the denominator, the same number should be multiplied in the numerator also. So this is equal to half of, here I am going to multiply by 10. Why I am going to multiply by 10? Because I want the same denominator. Okay, children, if I get the same denominator, I can add the numerator. Okay, so here I am going to multiply by 10. So in the numerator also I will multiply by 10. Do not forget to multiply by 10 in the numerator. So I get here 10 upon 40 plus 9 upon 40. Getting my point, children? See, we have made the denominator same. Yes, if the denominators are same, what can be done? We can add the numerator. So this is equal to half of 10 plus 9 upon 40. So 19 upon 80. 10 plus 9, 19 into 1, 19. 2 into 40, it's 80. So write down here, therefore, Q2 is equal to 19 upon 80. Highlight your answer, children. Just go on drawing the boxes for the answers. So Q2 is equal to 19 upon 80. So we got the second rational number. We got the first rational number and also we got the second rational number. Are you clear, children? Okay. Let's go for the next thing. What is that? Q3. Come on, let's do Q3. So what is the formula for Q3? Half of A. Remember to write A. And Q3 is there. So you have to write here Q2. For the first one only we took A plus B. Okay. Then later on you have to be careful. Q2 means A plus Q1. Q3 means A plus Q2. Q4 means A plus Q3 and so on. So this is equal to half of. What is the value for A, children? 1 upon 4. What is the value for Q2? It's 19 upon 80. Yes. So half. Again, before you go for cross multiplication, just check the denominator. What is the denominator here? It's 4. And what is the number here? It's 80. So how can you make the denominator same? Yes, if I multiply by 20. Yes, 4 2s are 8. So there's a relation. Yes, 4 2s are 8. But here you have 80. That means you are going to multiply here by 20. If you multiply by 20 in the denominator, the same thing should be carried in the numerator also. So what you have here? 20 plus 19 upon 80. Have done directly, children? Yes, children, because we have the same denominator. So have taken the numerators together and the common denominator. So this is equal to half of 39 upon 80, which is equal to 39 upon 160. 2 into 80, 160. Therefore, Q3 is equal to 39 upon 160. This is the third rational number. What is the third rational number? It's 39 upon 160. Okay children, I just give you some time. Come on, you have to complete Q4 and Q5. Come on, I just give you some time. Come on children, be fast, you have to be quick. The calculations are very easy. Come on, proceed with your sums. Complete Q4 and Q5. So what is the formula that you are going to use? Half of A plus Q3, and for Q5 we are going to use half of A plus Q4. Okay children? So Q5 means Q4, and for Q4 A plus Q3. Come on, complete the answer. First you complete Q4. Once you get the answer for Q4, you have to find Q5. Come on, do it. You have to be quicker children. Okay. I hope you are ready. Yes, good. So what do you get here? This is half of, what is A? It's 1 upon 4. What is Q3? It's 39 upon 160. Again, we have a relation with the denominator part. Here you have 4 and here you have 160. So 4 4s are 16. Here we have 1 0 along with 16. So you have to multiply by 40 and 40. The denominator should be multiplied by 40. Same manner you have to multiply the numerator with 40. Do not forget to make the changes, otherwise your sum goes wrong. Be careful children. Okay, so this is equal to half of 1 into 40, 40, plus is the main sign. What is the number here? 39. Okay, here we have 160, 160. I am going to take the denominator as a common. Okay, so half of 40 plus 39, 79. 79 upon 160, 160. So just multiply children. So you get here 79 upon double of 16, 32. Double of 16, it's 32. Put here 1 0. We have 1 0 with here. So you get 79 upon 320. Write on the answer. 79 upon 320. Write on the box over there. Q4 is equal to. Therefore, Q4 is equal to 79 upon 320. So we have found the fourth rational number, that is 79 upon 320. Okay, let's go for the last rational number. There is a fifth rational number. What is the formula for fifth rational number? How are you going to find it? Half of A plus Q4. We know all the values. Yes children, let's substitute the values. It's 1 by 4 plus Q4 is 79 upon 320. Come on, complete the work and give me the answer children. Okay, so what do you get here? This is half of there's a relation. 32, this is 4. So 4 into 8 gives you 32. 4 8s are 32. Here we have 1 0. So 1 into 8 upon 4 into 80. Yeah, it's not 8. Here we have to add 1 0. So 80 plus 79 upon 320. 4 into 8 is 32. 4 is a 32 is 1 0. Because here you have 320. And 1 into 80. The same number should be multiplied in the numerator also. So half of 80 plus 79 upon 320. So let's add 80 and 79. 80 plus 79. 9, 7, 7, 14, 15. So it's 159. What is the double of 32? 32. Double of 32 is 64. So 640. Therefore, Q5 is equal to 159 upon 640. Q5 is equal to 159 upon 640. Yes, so we have found all the 5 rational numbers. Let us write on the final statement. Come on, write on the final statement. Therefore, and I just once again I just say that we don't have only these 5 rational numbers. We can have many more choices. We have many choices for finding the rational numbers between these 2 numbers. So right on this is one of the way we have used to find out the rational numbers. Therefore, the 5 rational numbers between 1 by 4 and 1 by 5 are. The 5 rational numbers between 1 by 4 and 1 by 5 are. What is the first number, children? It was 9 by 40. Q2, 19 by 80. Q3, 39 by 160. 79 by 320. And 159 by 640. That's all. Yes. The 5 rational numbers between 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 5 are 9 upon 40, 19 upon 80, 39 upon 160, 79 upon 320, and 159 upon 640. So this is the answer for third question, first subpart. And you have one more work, children. Yes, you would have guessed it. Yes, the second and the third subpart is your homework. From question number 3, the second subpart and the third subpart is your homework. And I'll just give you a small hint for sum number 2 from third question. For question number 3, you have to use this method. Okay, you have to use a formula method. You have to get the answer. But for your subpart 2, that is 0.1 and 0.11. Shall I rub this part? Okay. So what is the number given for the second one? It's 0.1 and 0.11. Okay. So 0.1 can be written as 0.100. Okay, children. And 0.1 can be written as 0.110. That is, we can go on adding the zeros at the last. Actually, see, there is a difference. Now, if you have a number 1, I cannot go on adding 0, 0. The value changes. But in case of decimals, I can add the zeros at the last. I have 0. I cannot add the zeros in between any numbers. Okay, children? I cannot insert zeros anywhere. I can just put it at the last. So I can write down here 0.100. And how to read? It's 0.100. Don't say 100. It's wrong. 0.100. 0.110. Now this is simple, yes. Now you can go on listing out the numbers. So these are the 2 numbers. 0.100 and 0.110. So what will be the answer? 0.101, 0.102, and so on. You can list so many of numbers. Okay? So you can have to list only 5 numbers. So the second subpart will be done directly, and for the third subpart you have to use the formula and you have to get the answer. Just note down, children, you have a negative numbers over there. So be careful with the sign. Okay, children. So you have to apply the concept of integers over there, like applications of integers over there. Solve the sum and get the answer. So with this, we complete our exercise 2.1, and we will be continuing with exercise 2.2 in the next class.